Hello, everyone. This is Emily, and I am a digital transformation consultant at Hyperbot Systems. I'm really pleased to have Ayo on the call with us. Ayo Fashina is a CFO at Kobo 360. And today, the topic that we'll be discussing is transformation of finance communication and coordination tasks with vendors and customers using AI. But before we go into further details, Ayo, would you mind introducing yourself?
Yes, thank you, Emily. It's good to be here. My name is Ayo Fashina, as Emily said. I'm the group CFO at Kobo. And at Kobo, we are an e-logistics company that matches goods owners to transporters. And we operate in 7 African countries. So I'm in charge of the finance function for all those different countries, as well as the US Holdco. And it's a pleasure to be here. And let's get into it.
All right. Thank you so much, Ayo, and welcome to our discussion on the transformation of finance communication and coordination tasks in conjunction with artificial intelligence. So, to begin with, I'd want to actually understand and get your take on the overview of how AI has impacted communication and coordination tasks within the finance department of your organization.
Thank you, Emily. So AI or other variations of AI has impacted communications and coordination tasks in our finance function by assisting us in different ways. So as an e-logistics platform, what we do is we're a tech-enabled logistics company. And what we try to do is to find ways where we can adopt technology in order to ease the pain points of logistics. Because as you know, logistics is a traditional sector. And it's a sector that, although it's traditional, it's not going away anytime soon. And AI cannot replace logistics completely yet because we still need to move goods from A to B. Mm-hmm. So the way we adopt AI in communications varies from tracking various items that may otherwise have fallen through the cracks in our operations. We also use AI to monitor payments due dates from our customers and also use it to send messages to customers and vendors as required. So these messages are automated through AI algorithms. So what AI does is it reads the invoices or the invoices that we receive or invoices that we send out, and then pick the right information out of it. So maybe the due date, the amount, and the information, contact information of the particular customer or the vendor. And then a notification is sent out. When the invoice has been sent, there's a notification. When the invoice is maybe 10 days to due date, you'll send an invoice notification saying, oh, the invoice XYZ is due in 10 days. Just a reminder to the customers to make sure that they remember to pay us. Because at the end of the day, we're in the business to get paid. And if we send invoice out and we don't get paid, then it becomes a problem. So that's how we've been adopting AI to help ease the pain points in finance departments so far.
Got it. Understood. And Ayo, what were the primary motivations or objectives behind integrating AI into finance communication and coordinating the processes?
So, like I said before, we try to make sure things don't fall through the cracks. Because what we realized was when we first started and when using AI to track all these things, what tend to happen is that either we don't pay some vendors on time, and then we have issues with the transporters, because what we refer to vendors in our business largely are the transporters that we matched to the trips. And what we call the customers are the goods owners that are shipping the goods. So we get paid from the goods owners and we pay the transporters. But the timing of the payments are different, and we have to manage that efficiently in order to make sure that our cash flow is optimized. So what we realize is that if we do not remind customers, they tend to forget to pay us. And then we also realize that if transporters are not online with us, so if they need an advance payment, they have to request it through their phones or whatever equipment they're using. And then we have to process that automatically through our own system. So we realized that in order for us to better handle our cash flow and to improve our collection and cash-to-cash cycle, we needed to find a way to introduce AI into how we deal with our customers and our vendors.
Got it. Got it. And we spoke about the why of, behind integrating AI with the different communications involved. I now want to focus on how has AI specifically transformed vendor communication and coordination processes within your finance operation.
Okay. So since we introduced AI into our coordination and communication, our vendor management system has been enhanced. And what we are able to do is now send real-time messages to our vendors' smartphones about orders. We can show them, okay, you have XYZ orders. Are you willing to take it? And that's automatically taken from our platform and sent to different vendors that are available to actually fulfill that order. We're also able to match them more automatically as opposed to having an individual call a transporter and say, oh, are you available to take these goods from A to B? No, the computer does that now. AI does that and enables us to see, okay, this transporter is available for this route. This is the job that has come in. And it just automatically sends the message to the transporter and say, this is available. Are you willing to take it? Now, we also use AI to scrape information from SMS and WhatsApp in order to feed into our platform. Because we realized that we built the platform. It was supposed to be like online. Customers are supposed to log on to the online platform, place their orders, and then we can match the orders. But we realized that customers, most of the time, they don't even go online. What they do is send a text to some of our sales team or our operations team or send a WhatsApp message. So the question is, how do we get those information into the platform in order to be processed and automatically distributed to the transporters that are available for that route or the trip? So we use AI to scrape those data from text and WhatsApp and then use that one to feed into our platform. And then once it gets to the platform, there's a different engine that processes that order and then sends it to different vendors to see who will pick it up.
Got it. Got it. So, Ayo, could you also share any specific examples or use cases where AI has significantly improved vendor interactions or transactions apart from the ones that you just shared?
Okay. So what we also use AI for is to process advance payments requests from our vendors and also use to process the fuel voucher system that we use for the drivers that are driving the trucks. What it does is if you're matched to a trip, then the next thing that you do once you get to the location and pick up the goods is that you can request for advance payment. Now, this is done through your phone, smartphone, or even we enable it to be able to send an SMS to actually do this advance payment because we have a way to scrape the information from it. And once that advance payment request is sent, then it comes into our system. And then from our platform, it looks at the trip, it sees you've matched, looked at your location to figure out where is the truck, because we have geotag and geolocation on the trucks that are being used. And then it initiates the payment to their vendor. So all this information is automatically fed into our finance ERP platform, and it enables the payments to be processed real time to the vendor once we check all the different things. And now the checking used to be done by individuals, but now we use AI to do the analysis. So once you get the request, you check the location of the truck, you check if the goods have been picked up, and then you initiate payments. And then, as I mentioned before, we also have the payments automated. We have API connections to banks. So the request from a bank to send a payment to a particular vendor is done automatically through APIs, and we don't have to log into the bank's platform. It's all done through our platform, and it's sent automatically. Now, we also have AI-generated messages that are sent to vendors and key staff members about what's going on. So we can send a message to the operations team saying, truck XYZ has picked up goods from Z location, and it's on its way, and the advance payment has been made. So then notification goes out automatically to the key members of our staff, as well as to the driver and the owner of the truck. So that's how we also use AI to try and coordinate all the different things that we may require people to remember to do Because the problem is when you expect humans to remember to do certain things, they will always forget sometimes. So the vendor is more happy to receive payments on time. And by automating this whole process, we are able to shorten the payment period. So if you request an advance payment now, within 5 minutes, you can actually get the money because all the checks are done using AI. And then the transfer itself is done automatically from our platform. So we don't have to log in. Historically, before we adopted AI to do all this processing, it used to be like 24 hours. So you request for advance payments, then it's 24 hours later before you get it. And when you think about it, for a truck to get paid 24 hours later, you've picked up the goods. You need to fuel the truck in order to go. And the fuel cost most of the time is about 50% or more of the total fare tariff that you're getting for that trip. So it helps for them to be able to get the money sooner or to even get the voucher for the fuel systems quicker so they can go to the fuel station and pick up fuel in order to proceed on the trip. So that's how we've always used it. Another example of how AI has been helping enabling our processes.
Got it. That was really insightful, Ayo. So we actually discussed how AI has overall impacted the finance department as well as vendor communication. I now want to move into challenges and the different solutions as well. Right. So what were the key challenges that you encountered in implementing AI for vendor communication and how did you address them?
So challenges, there's always challenges. The challenges that I would talk about is mostly around ensuring the right information is sent to the vendors, ensuring we're scraping the right information from the messages that are coming in and picking the key things that we need to identify and send out automatically. We had issues with messaging when because we were not able to send messages to certain platforms like through SMS or WhatsApp. And initially we were just using it for a smartphone platform. And then we quickly realized that most of our drivers, they don't even have smartphones. And if they do, when you start driving a long distance, because most of our trips are long haul, the first day you may have the smartphone working, but by the second day, the battery is dead. And then you can communicate with them. So we had to figure out how to communicate through SMS and WhatsApp because they usually have a smaller phone that's not smart and the battery lasts longer. So the battery can last for days for those ones. So you find a way to actually be able to communicate with them through those phones as opposed to just the smartphone. So that's one of the challenges that we encountered. And we had to figure out how do we enable AI to communicate through different channels as opposed to just the one channel through the smartphone or email that we initially designed it for.
Got it. And Ayo, any lessons learned or best practices from overcoming these challenges?
Yes. So the main lesson that was learned in that example that I just gave is that you need to understand the needs and limitations of your customer and vendors prior to developing whatever solution you're developing for them. Because if you don't understand their pain points and the limitations, then you create something that may work, but it doesn't work for them. So initially, when we developed the AI to send messages to smartphones and emails, it's great. However, smartphone and emails, they can't check when they're on the road. So what's best is to get SMS and WhatsApp messaging into their messaging as well. And that's what we realized that whatever we're doing next, we bring them in first for consultation, understand where they're coming from, what the issues are, because you always think you know, but you don't until you actually talk to the people that are involved. And then once you understand that, then you design what you want to design, then you show it to them, and it's an iterative process as opposed to just engineers sitting in a room and creating things that they think would help, but not necessarily helping.
Got it. Understood. So, Aya, in what ways has AI enhanced communication and coordination when it comes to customers in your finance department?
Yeah, so AI has enabled us to have a better control over our cash flow by having greater visibility about what's going on. So as I was explaining before, I was saying that we use AI for scraping the information of the invoices that we sent or we received in order to make sure that things are managed and coordinated. So we check the due dates. We're able to follow up with customers quicker and faster. That improved our receivables days, so we collect our money a lot sooner. And then for reporting, because everything is now scraped and the data is available, then we can report a lot faster because those information are there. They're already processed by AI. And when we need to report them, we just pull them from the platform. And we also are able to reduce the errors in payments because sometimes when you have human, that's the one that's doing the processing of their advance request that I was talking about and the balance, they may pay twice. They may make a payment that doesn't go through and think it went through. If it was AI will check and make sure that it doesn't come back. If it comes back, then it reinitiates it. So all those things we've been able to improve upon. And that has helped our finance team tremendously.
Got it. Got it. And Ayo, are there any notable instances where AI-driven customer interaction have led to improved outcomes or improved customer satisfaction?
Definitely. So all these things I've been talking about has led to vendors being satisfied, so the transporters, because they get their money quicker. We are also satisfied because we get our money faster from our customers and we can manage the payment system better to the transporter as well. They're able to pick up their fuel faster through the voucher system that's being managed by the AI. We also generate the reminders to even the customers and vendors to do whatever they're supposed to do and to customers to make the payments as that went due. And all those things have been able to actually bring better customer satisfaction. So when we talk to our vendors, when we do focus groups with our transporters, they say they like our platform. They like running trips through us instead of even going directly to the customers because we have all those things that makes their life easier. So we've used AI to be like their back office because most of these guys are micro fleet owners. They own maybe 2, 3, 5 trucks, and they don't really have staff to manage all these things, payments and fuel and all this stuff. But we do that for them. And even if you need a report of how you've done over the last week, over the last month, we can generate those reports for you as a transporter. So we can tell you how many trips you've done, how much were the rates that was paid for those trips, how long did it took for you to do the trips. We can tell you how much was paid in advance, how much fuel did you pick up, all those things we can provide to those transporters. And they are very, very happy to deal with us because now we're like their back office.
Got it. Got it. So, we discussed the challenges along with the different solutions as well as, customer communication as well as satisfaction. Let's now actually move to benefits and, impacts. So, what are the primary benefits that your organization has experienced from leveraging AI in finance communication and coordination tasks?
So, along the lines of what I was talking about before, the benefits are better customer and vendor coordination. So, partners, as we call them, and customers are happier. We can coordinate better when we're matching trips and when we're actually helping transporters to deliver their trips. Now we have improved payment timing, both to the vendors and also from our customers. They pay us quicker, we pay those guys quicker, everybody's happy. We have improved reporting on our receivables and payable days, which are metrics that's been tracked by me especially. And that's something that I report to the shareholders and the board because the quicker you collect your money, the lower your receivable days. That means your cash to cash cycle shrinks.
Yeah.
And when you have a shorter cash to cash cycle, that gives you a better management of your cash flow. So you can do more with less cash because your cash comes back faster. If you understand why that's important to us. So those are some of the benefits to our organization. So and we are reaping the benefits because we realize that we need to get to sustainability very quickly. As a startup, when you start, you're pushing for growth, sales. But at a certain point, you focus on sustainability. That's the phase that we're in now. And that's why all these things are being employed in order to enable us become sustainable a lot quicker.
Got it. So, Aya, you mentioned a few metrics that you currently track. Have you observed any quantifiable improvement, maybe in terms of efficiency, cost reduction, or other key performance indicators since implementing AI?
Yes. So we have observed significant and quantifiable improvements. So I'll give you some of the numbers from what I've been talking about before. So our cash to cash cycle used to be 40 days. That means the time between when the cash goes out and when we get the cash back is 40 days. Now we're around 10 days or less, depending on the market. So that means our cash goes out and it's coming back very quickly in less than 2 weeks. And we can use the cash to do more trips. Our receivables days has also reduced significantly. When I joined about 2 years ago and some change, the receivables days were 100 days. What that means is that on average, you collect your money from customers 100 days later after you send the invoice. That doesn't make any sense. Our invoices are like 30 days period to collect. That's the contractual limit. But somehow we're collecting 100 days later. And that's because A, we have issues around reconciliation. So we have issues around what we think the customer owes us and what they think they owe us. See, AI has helped us resolve that issue because everybody sees what's going on. It's easier to show. So we also have the communication where they may even forget our invoice fell through the cracks. Now they get notification 10 days to due, 20 days due, 5 days, it's due, it's overdue. So, and then notification not only goes to the customer, it goes to our own collections team as well. So our team is able to even track and manage which invoices they need to chase and need to focus on. So our receivables days has reduced from 100 days to 20 days. And we're even trying to push it shorter because now we're pushing for advance payments. Now the timing from the payment request for the advance payments by transporters to when they actually get the money. Like I was telling you before, it used to be like 24 hours. Now we can do it within 5 minutes. So those are some of the metrics that have shown how AI has significantly improved our operations.
That's really impressive. So moving into data privacy and security, Ayo, how do you ensure data privacy as well as security while utilizing AI for communication and coordination with the external parties such as vendors as well as the different customers?
So what we do is to ensure data privacy is we follow the privacy standards, GDPR and all those. And what we do is we make sure that sensitive data and PII, which are personally identifiable information, are not communicated via those automated responses. So we don't send them through our AI comms platform. What we send are the more key stuff. So your invoice XYZ is due on Y date. And there's nothing that is non-public out of that, but it's something that helps you remember. We also ensure that we have the sensitive financial information that are not included in that reminders in the communication. So we wouldn't put our account number or our vendor's account number in the communication. That one is kept in our system, and it's just the notification and the coordination that we use AI to do. We also redact things. If it's something that we're sending out that may have some information that shouldn't be out, it will be redacted before we send it out to make sure that at least it doesn't get out there, just in case. So those are some of the measures that we're taking to make sure that data privacy is maintained.
Got it.
Usually when we're developing most of these things, we have our lawyers checking to make sure that these are things that we can send out. These are communications that we can put out without infringing on those data privacy and requirements.
Got it. So other than complying to GDPR or the different measures that you just mentioned, Ayo, are there any specific measures or protocols in place to safeguard sensitive financial information when using AI-powered communication tools?
Definitely. So we have measures that we use AI to check. So look at the data that we're trying to send. Make sure there are no PII or financial information before we release it. We also have access rights and other security measures within our platform and our system. So it's only individuals, employees that are authorized to see certain things that are able to get access to those things. So it's not everybody have access to account information, for example, of vendors or even our own account information. So based on your access rights is what determines what you're able to see or not see on our platform. So that's also a way that we try to use to ascertain that people don't have information that they're not supposed to have or leak the information that may be sensitive to the public.
Mm. Got it. Got it. So, just out of curiosity, Ayo, can you elaborate on any specific AI technologies or tools that your organization has adopted to enhance financial communication and coordination?
Incidentally, we actually do develop all our tools in-house. So we have a team of engineers that develop all these things. We tried to buy initially, but we just couldn't find anything that's tailor-made for what we're trying to do. Because what we're trying to do is something that's niche, and it's not, we don't have an off-the-shelf kind of tool to use for this. So all these things I've been discussing and talking about are things that are built by engineers in-house. And so that's how we've gone about it.
Got it. Pretty impressive. So, while you might have been, evaluating vendors in the market, before the building portion came in, were there any specific criterias that you considered, when selecting any of these, or actually while evaluating these AI solutions, and have how have they actually met your expectations?
Yeah. Well, they haven't met it. That's why we have to do it in-house.
Yeah.
But what we're looking for is, so initially when we see a tool, we'll test the tool. So A, does the tool do what we're trying to do without having to modify it? And B, even if we have to modify it, is the tool open source enough where we can actually modify it to do what we needed it to do? If that doesn't work, then the question is around, is this tool safe? How is it managed? Do they have access to the information that we're running through this tool? Or is it just running remotely or standalone on our platform or in our own network? So all those things are what we're evaluating. And then because things change, and as I said, when we engage with the vendors, we have things that we need to do to modify and make things work. We realize that for a tool to be bought off the shelf, it has to be open source enough where we'll probably redo the whole thing. And then there's no point of buying something, paying for it, when you have to rebuild it to work for your own application. So we decided to just start from scratch and develop our own tools.
Got it. Got it. So, Ayo, what metrics or key performance indicators do you use to measure the effectiveness of AI-driven communication in specific, and especially within the finance department?
So for finance, we know accuracy is important. So the accuracy of the communication is key. The effectiveness of the communication is also key. So it can be accurate, but is it effective? Are people responding to it? Are we seeing improvement from those communications being done? So we track the read and opening of the comms. Is it being read? Are they opening it? How long does it take to deliver the reports that we're generating from those AI tools? What are the improvements that we're seeing in our financial metrics, just like I was discussing earlier? Those are the ways that we check to see if this AI comms tool is working or not. Because if it's not doing those things, then we might as well scrap it and go back to the drawing board, which is what we had to do when we initially had it just doing emails and smartphone. We realized it wasn't working enough.
Correct. Understood. So, have you identified any areas for further optimization or refinement based on these performance metrics that you just mentioned?
So these tools that we use are being continuously improved and optimized. So the team of engineers that we have, they always in discussions with the operations team, the finance team, to see how can they make these tools better. Because we see something and we call them up and say, hey, can you do X, Y, Z? Can you make this tool do Y? That's how we operate. So it's a continuous process that we're always asking them, look into what can we do and in what areas can we do. So what we're developing now is how do we look into using more chatbots that can respond to basic questions from vendors and all those things. So we don't even need people to respond to those because some of the questions are more standardized. And how do you adopt the use of chatbots to do that? So those are some of the areas that we're looking at currently.
Got it. Got it. So, diving into the future outlook perspective, Ayo, how do you envision the future of AI in transforming finance communication and the coordination tasks further?
So I see the future of AI transforming finance communications, especially by enabling more personalized and responsive experience. And by that, I mean, you're ensuring that the communication is not only seamless, but also more empathetic. So it's not like you're being communicated with by a robot, as they used to show in the movies. So the responses are more understanding and is more tailored to your needs, as opposed to just boilerplate information that's going out. So we're thinking that by leveraging advanced algorithms and machine learning, AI can analyze user behavior a bit better and preferences, and then they can now foster more meaningful connections while they're sending those communications to various people. So, and we all know it depends on how much data you're able to feed into their machine learning models and the algorithms for them to learn and they continue to learn in order to get better. But I think this is something that will be worked on in the near future.
Got it. Got it. And any emerging trends or developments in AI technology that you believe will have a significant impact on finance operations in the coming years?
So I believe that organizations will continue to embrace the whole data-driven process by utilizing the insights to approach problems more strategically using AI. And I think virtual assistants and chatbots will become even more mainstream than they are now. They'll be more adept in connecting with people 24/7. So you have them always available. When the customer service goes home, you still have the chatbot and AI available to do that. They're resolving common issues in a more natural and nuanced manner, as opposed to now where by the time you ask a few questions, they get stuck. But as we develop, I think they'll be more able to answer those questions. Instead of having a 24-hour customer service team, now you can have a 24/7 AI virtual assistant and chatbots that can be used for those. And AI assistants can also be further trained to deal with other issues, more complex issues, as we've seen in the like a chat GPT type AI and the other ones that people have been bringing out. So chatbots will also become more mainstream and it'll be incorporated into companies. So companies will have it as a tool that's available to their employees. So I've started to see that. So I was at an event recently where one of the CFOs was talking about they actually subscribe to ChatGPT for all their staff members. Subscription one where you can actually have a better response from it. Because they realize that certain things that you have to develop from scratch, if you query a chatbot, it gives you like the template or the basis, the initial rudimentary draft of what you're trying to do. And then you can get to what you're trying to do faster. They also use it for some of their developers. So you can actually write the initial codes for them, and then they can now develop that code. So it's ways where you can use this chatbot and AI to make your staff more efficient. They don't have to start everything from scratch. They can start from the chatbot template, and then you go from there. So I'm seeing that becoming more mainstream, where almost every company will have it as part of like a Google search. Maybe like a chatbot. You can just query for different things just to start whether you're trying to write up a memo or investment memo or whatever. Hey, why don't you put it in there and then use it and develop it further? So I'm seeing that becoming more commonplace.
Got it. Got it. That's pretty interesting. So thank you so much, Ayo, for sharing your valuable insights into the transformation of finance, communication, and coordination through AI integration. It's evident that AI has not only revolutionized how finance departments interact with vendors and customers, but it also in a way holds tremendous potential for further innovation and enhancements in the future. And it was really great talking to you about the same.
My pleasure. Always a pleasure discussing how AI and finance cross paths, and they'll continue to cross paths.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily.